What is up, everybody? Hey, I'm glad that you guys can all join us tonight. We are here every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time with a new episode of Make Every Second Count Live. With me, your host, Jeff Marconette Jr., also known as the award-winning international Make Every Second Count speaker, and I will be releasing some details soon, but TEDx speaker will also come after my name. So I'm pretty excited about that. So stay tuned for that one. But I have got one heck of a guest tonight. She filled in at the last minute, and I'm really surprised that I found such quality at such a short amount of time. So I ask you if you would please share this episode out. Invite all kinds of people to watch this episode. And don't forget to give us all kinds of hearts, thumbs up, frowny faces, cry faces. Hey, you can even get mad at us. I don't care. Help us trick the algorithms on any of the social media networks we're on. And don't forget to subscribe. All right, but with no further ado, I would like to bring to the stage Miss Janet. Hello, Janet. How are you doing this evening?
Great. How are you, Jeff?
Oh, I am fantastic. Hey, I just want to take a second here and let you know how honestly thankful I am that I found such a person of like you're pretty awesome. I have to say it myself. So I'm really happy that I was able to find somebody pretty awesome in such a short amount of time.
Oh, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, Jeff. It's an honor.
Well, I appreciate you. But if you would like to take a few seconds and introduce yourself, I'm going to be inviting a few people on my phone. All right?
Okay, great, awesome. My name is Janet Marie Hefney. I am an ADHD coach as well as a life coach. I am also an author, and I am a speaker as well. And I'm also
Wow.
located in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Now that is pretty amazing. I like Charlotte. It's a very nice area. It's I like the weather too. And
Yeah.
what's the weather like there now?
Actually, today it was a little cold today. I think we were in the 40s, high 40s
Oh,
today.
why, why? It
I
was
know.
like 8 here the last couple days, so
Oh
you
goodness.
you don't have any room to complain.
I know.
No, but I love the weather down there, so I can relate to that. But
Yeah, it's
so
pretty amazing.
it's 7:04 and I'm pretty much done inviting people now. But I have to say that I know personally, like going through life, I had a severe car accident. I spent 2.5 months in a coma and 3.5 in the hospital. I was told I wouldn't walk again,
Hmm.
but I'm here and I'm doing it now. I'm doing things in the world now that people only dream of doing. And in my situation, it's like a miracle, I guess. It's just wow. And I don't say that to brag on myself. I say that to show other people that they can do
That's
anything they
right.
want because they might be going through something. But if you just realize this one thing, you're going through something doesn't have to be the end.
That's right.
You see, there is a lesson in all challenges.
Hmm.
There's something there to be taught that we need to learn in order to get to the other side. So I like to say that we don't go through things, but we grow through things.
I
And
love that.
has there been anything in your life that you have had to grow through?
Oh, absolutely. My son was actually diagnosed with ADHD when he was 8 years old. And that was actually 30 years ago because my son is an adult now. He's 38. So I had many, many challenges through just him being diagnosed. And I mean, as far as we had challenges, when he was, just a child, and as he continued to grow and even become an adult, we still had so many challenges and not understanding why he had all these challenges. It was in school, it was at home, and again, like I said, it was in his adult life and relationships. So yes, I've had, so many challenges, and a lot of it had to do with my son and his diagnosis and not understanding his diagnosis. Um, really led us to suffer in life for many,
Yeah.
many years, Jeff.
So let's reiterate this here for a minute because I think some people might have missed it. But what was the diagnosis again?
The diagnosis was his ADHD. He was diagnosed with ADD, is at the time, attention
Yeah,
deficit disorder.
yeah. They all those things have changed, and it's so weird. The names just changed. It's
Mhm.
okay, but um. So, and when exactly was he diagnosed with this?
30 years ago when he was 8 years old.
When he was 8. All right.
Hmm.
So, what was it like when you got that diagnosis?
Oh my goodness. I can remember it like yesterday. Um, I was blindsided. His school actually called me in to come to the school. And I went to the school. And when I walked in, they led me to a conference room, which had maybe 6, 7 people, sitting around a conference table, and brought me in and told me that my son was diagnosed with ADD, that they had actually um, did this assessment test on him, and that's what they had realized, that he was diagnosed with ADD. And to be honest with you, Jeff, in that moment, all I heard was, something is wrong with your son. I didn't hear anything else. I didn't understand what they were saying. um, I was just hurt. I felt like something was wrong with my son.
Yeah. And did they explain like what it was going to cause or what this disease does? Did they tell you any prognosis?
The only thing they told me was, they talked about his scores, which were low, and they told me in order to help him, that I had to take him to his primary doctor, and he needed medication. That's what I was told.
Yeah. And what does a well, all right. What does ADD and ADHD stand for?
ADD is attention deficit disorder, and ADHD is ADHD is attention deficit hyperactive disorder. The only difference is the hyperactive. What they realize is that anyone that has ADD or ADHD, they're still working with that. They're actually conformed it all to ADHD, because there's some hyperactivity somewhere with a person that has ADHD or ADD.
That's really strange to me. But they basically just kind of blindsided you, and
Mhm.
that is crazy to me because I've had people on this show that have been blindsided, such as one of my guests, a police officer showed up at her door and told her that her son had passed away in a car accident because he was out getting high. He was doing whippets. And
Mhm.
she said, no, 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 you don't understand. This can't be possible. My son is upstairs in bed. And she went and checked, and he wasn't there.
Wow.
So it's crazy. The blind sides come out of nowhere,
Yes.
and they often smack people in the face. You know, Mike Tyson always said that everybody has a plan until they get hit in the mouth.
That's true.
So how did that affect your plan?
Oh goodness, it affected everything because I didn't know how to deal with my son's ADHD. In fact, I didn't realize that the ADHD was affecting us in so many ways until he started getting older in life. And I realized because when you get older, people think that you're supposed to do better in life as you get older. And that wasn't happening. Things were getting worse. So it affected my life in many different ways, our life, his school life, my work life, relationships, in my family and, other relationships. So it affected both of us in many different ways.
That's crazy. So I understand that a lot of people are going to hear that your son was diagnosed with ADHD, and they're going to be like, hey, at least it was only ADHD. At least it wasn't something a lot worse. But how has ADHD really affected your life?
Well, I'll say ADHD. My son was in and out of jail. That definitely affected my life. Financially, it affected my life. I didn't want my son to be labeled because Black men are labeled. So, with going to jail. So that was another thing that definitely that's something that I did not want to happen. And he was in and out of jail, so that definitely affected me, in so many ways. I was a young single mom who was failing as a mother, to her young Black son. And I didn't have anyone to actually help guide me and give me, what I needed to help him, give him what he needed because the medication just wasn't working.
Um, so I have noticed something that with a lot of people on this show, a lot of people that have come on here come on and say that they have a lot of support or they had a lot of support. And you were saying you didn't have a lot of support. So how did that affect you, and how would have support helped you in the long run?
Well, I'll say this, Jeff. I'm not going to say that I didn't have any support. I didn't have any support as far as anyone educating me or my son about ADHD. I had support at home, but no one at home like my mother. Like again, I was a young mother. I had my son at 16 years old. So I was a young mom, but my mother didn't understand ADHD. My family didn't understand ADHD. So, we always had these family meetings, and we would even, some of the meetings would be about my son and how to help him. But in the Black community, we say that ADHD is a label. You're labeling the child. They're labeling, Jawan. They're labeling him. Well, and I didn't believe that because I felt like something more was going on, but my family couldn't see that. They were support, but they didn't know how to support me. And the people that I looked to support me, which was the educators, the teachers, people in the school system, the doctors, psychiatrists, counselors. I went to all these people. Those people who I thought would be able to support us did not have the proper education, did not have the proper tools and strategies to help us.
Yeah. Now, what if somebody else gets this diagnosis? What would you tell their parents to do now, since
The,
you've been through it?
the first thing I would tell a parent is to get educated about ADHD. Get educated about ADHD and embrace ADHD. And know that ADHD doesn't mean that for me, ADHD is not a disorder. To me,
Yeah.
that is a negative. A disorder is of a negative word. ADHD is a difference. We're all different in this world. Everyone is different. So embrace your child, get to know him, get educated about ADHD, and analyze your child. Analyze your child. Get to know who your child is and talk to your child about ADHD. As well as you have to educate your child about ADHD as well, and to teach them to also embrace ADHD and find out what their strong points are in ADHD. And those are the things that you hone in on is the child or the person's strong points, because people with ADHD have strength that people who doesn't have ADHD, it can't compare. Their strengths are, that's that hyperactivity that comes into play with a person with ADHD, and that can be a strong point.
Yeah. So, all right. So it's like the way I see your description of ADHD and as a disorder is kind of the same way I look at the word disability. You see, I I I've never liked the word disability. People have told me for a long time that I have disabilities and there's things that I can't do.
Mhm.
But I tell them, look, I don't have disabilities. I have different abilities. I
That's right.
might not be able to do the same thing you can do, but you can't do the same thing I can do.
That's right.
So, does that make you have disabilities too? No, we all have different abilities.
That's right.
And that is when you can get that point across to somebody who has been labeled with disabilities or a disorder, then their whole world opens up. Like the possibilities are just like, wow, I'm not disabled. I find that to be awesome. And I don't know, that's just really, really cool to me. So
You're right. You're absolutely right.
you talked a little bit about education, educating yourself on ADHD. What is the best way to educate someone on ADHD?
Actually, you know what? You can Google. You can Google about ADHD and learn about ADHD. However, it does go more in depth. So you have ADHD coaches like myself. I'm an ADHD coach. So yes, and I've actually let me share it, Jeff. I actually, because of my son and I struggles and my family as a whole, all of us, we suffered through this. I actually created a program, a curriculum to help educate people about ADHD, and so that they can understand who they are or they can understand ADHD. Because also through my studies, what I realize is that the majority of us have the ADHD traits. So the ADHD traits live
Yeah.
within probably all of us.
Wow, didn't know that.
Yeah.
We all have the ADHD trait.
Hmm.
So what exactly do you mean by that? Can you elaborate a little?
When you talk about focusing, right? You have people that have challenges with staying focused for a certain length of time. following directions, organization, procrastination, time management. There is just so much that just, comprehension. Your comprehension, it could be delayed a little, like it takes you a little longer. Like, for an example, someone is reading something. You might have one person that can read and they comprehend it right away. You have another person that reads something and they may need to read it 3, 4 times before they can comprehend it. That
Yeah.
is a delay in the brain, and that is an ADHD trait.
Wow. I
Mhm,
didn't know that. That
mhm.
that's interesting. You just educated me on my own show. I appreciate that. So I need to take a second here and tell a few people I said hello. So and also thank you guys so much for watching. So we have my dad, we have David, we have Abigail, we have Ben Bruce, who is actually from Lagos, Nigeria. He's a loyal listener of this show, and we are always happy to have him here. And then we have Justin Martin, and then we also have Claire J911, who I believe is my little niece. She says, Janet is so pretty.
Oh, thank
And then
you.
Ben Bruce said, yes, beautiful Janet, thanks for coming on our show tonight. So I just wanted to point out that a little bit. But if you guys are enjoying this conversation, if you are learning anything from this conversation, please put a number 1 in the comments. Show our support. But I have to ask Janet, darn, I just forgot your name.
Janet.
I know
Yes, Janet Marie. Yes.
I about called you like Jan or something. But so I have to ask, how exactly can people find out a little bit more about this program that you were talking about?
You can go to alljanetmarie.com, and that's all Janet, my name, Janet, Janet, Marie, Marie.com.
That's a nice website. Do you happen to have any other contact information you would like to give out?
Actually, oh, that is the best because I'm so connected there with so much. But I also have a podcast, and that's Raw and Uncut with Janet Marie. And that's
Raw and
Raw
uncut
and Uncut with Janet Marie.
memory. That sounds pretty awesome. All right. So I know you were talking a little bit about book. So or be about being an author. So I'm guessing that means a book and not something like a magazine article or something. But first of all, let me ask, is it a book?
Yes, I have a book. The name of my book is The 5A Formula to Reclaim Your Life, and it is on Amazon. The 5A Formula to Reclaim Your Life.
And does that deal with ADD and ADHD or
It does not. It talks about my life and it talks about my journey, but I do talk some about my journey. I talk about my journey with my son, and I actually dedicate the book to my son.
all right, that is cool. I'm sure your son loves that. So I have a few more questions here. So how old did you say your son is now?
He's 38.
All right. And does this still affect him in his daily life now?
It definitely affects him, but because he understands ADHD, he's educated and he has learned to embrace his ADHD. His whole life has changed. He knows how to control his ADHD. He is now an entrepreneur where he is very successful in his business. So through it all, he's learned so much and he's in a happy place in his life. Relationships, just he's grown so much. So he's on the other side.
That is fantastic. Now, I know that we were talking earlier, and you said that when we were talking that your son was diagnosed with ADHD. And I actually said, that's cool. And then I thought about that for a minute and I was like, no, 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 I'm sorry. That's not cool that your son was diagnosed with ADHD, but that's cool that we have something to talk about. And you said ADHD can be cool. So can you elaborate a little bit on that and explain how ADHD can be cool?
Sure, Jeff. I remember when I learned about ADHD and when I really got educated, and I was like, wow, I didn't know all these people has ADHD. Like Bill Gates has ADHD. Michael Jordan has ADHD.
Wow.
Um, Solange Knowles, who is Beyonce's sister, has ADHD.
Wow.
Um, I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. Like Justin Bieber, it's just so many. Justin Timberlake, I'm sorry. There's so many people who has ADHD, and those people actually have tapped into their strong points. What I talked about earlier, those strong points that they have, and because of that, they have manifested their life in a way to where they have become so successful. So I realized that ADHD, it's 80% of it is being educated and embracing. The other part of it, the 20%, is, just having the proper tools and strategies to be able to manifest yourself to whereas, you know, you can control your ADHD. And once you understand it, it's easier to control. Once you embrace it, embracing it is truly the key to really, 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 um, making a difference in your life. To whereas even with the choices, it helps you to make better choices once you embrace it, once you get educated about it. Like for an example, my son says now, remember he was talking to a client of his, and the client was saying something. I couldn't hear him on the other line. And my son said, man, you may have to repeat that to me, 10, 20 times because I got ADHD. And they just laughed about it. So that was something my son would have never said when he wasn't educated about ADHD. And I always hear him saying things about his ADHD, and it makes me feel good because now he accepts who he is. He's good with who he is. And because of that, he's able to go out and do the things that he wants to do, not do what other people want him to do or what people expect of him. He does what he wants to do for himself to make himself happy.
That is awesome. I'm so glad that he has reached the point now that he has acceptance, I guess.
Yes.
And that makes me happy to hear. So I realize that we've kind of run out of time here. So I don't want to cut you off, but I do want to keep this to a half an hour. But
Okay.
I need everybody out there, including you, Janet, to do me a favor. You need to make every second count. Why, you might ask? Because you never know when those seconds will run out on your one life.
That's right. Your one life.
And I thank you so much, Janet, for coming on here tonight, taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here with me and my guests. But I just want to say thank you because I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jeff. You are amazing. You are amazing because you are talking about how you make every second count and you're using other people's stories to do that. So I appreciate you.
Hey, well, thank you very much, and you have a great night, guys. I'll see you back here next Friday or next. what is my deal today? Next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And until then, don't forget to make every second count.
That's
Thank
right.
you, Dan.
Thank you.